ever been played in TD Garden. There's not a WNBA team in Boston. There is some energy as the WNBA looks to eventually expand more. Could Boston be one of those cities? And we'll see. But to see the Sun and the Sparks play in that arena where the last professional basketball we saw in there was the NBA Finals, and they sold it out. There were 19,000 people there to watch the Sun and the Sparks play a game last night, and the Sun get the win. But for me, it was just a reminder that the WNBA in its entirety is really cooking right now. And it continues to grow, and there is a lot of appropriate attention on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and we found out that the Fever Storm game from over the weekend drew 2.2 million viewers, which is massive. The WNBA has 18 games this season where they've had more than 1 million viewers average, and 16 of those 18 have featured Caitlin Clark. So you cannot deny the connectivity of Caitlin Clark playing basketball and people wanting to watch. If she's playing, they will come, they will watch the game. But there has been so much extended growth around the league where you are having a Connecticut Sun team that is one of the 2 teams in the WNBA to reach 20 wins thus far this season. Their win last night got them to 20 wins. The New York Liberty, who shored up a spot in the playoffs over the weekend, the best team in the WNBA right now. But people want to watch this, and people are coming to watch it. And for 19,000 people to go to TD Garden when neither of those teams are from Boston is a pretty big deal. And I wish I could have watched it on TV. That's the next step. You could watch it on Twitter. It would have been really wonderful if I could just click on my remote, go over there, give it a look, and instead saw it on social media.
What were the other
It was
two
very
games?
cool. I don't know.
Okay. Because they typically...
One of them, I think, was Aces Liberty.
Where? Right. So it's
Yeah.
Aces. There's the Liberty are playing and the Aces are playing. But where are those games being played? Because typically the way it works is there'll be a handful of games on a given day in the WNBA. 2 of them will be on somewhere, be it Ion or ESPN or something like that, or Amazon Prime. And then one of them, it'll be a struggle to find. So I do wonder why that was a game that was the struggle to find when you had all of this energy around those 2 teams playing in Boston. It's a big week for the WNBA. Not just the Caitlin Clark piece of it on Sunday and the Liberty clinching. I think they clinched on Saturday or Sunday. But they're big games. I do believe Friday we get Liberty Aces, don't we? We get some pretty impressive games with really good teams with WNBA Finals hopes coming up this weekend, which is always a good thing. And I look forward to seeing what those numbers look like as well. You can lean on Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark is a bona fide phenomenon. She is a sports phenom. But to continue to grow this, you've got to have these other teams generating interest as well.
Right.
It can't just be Caitlin Clark is going to carry us from a viewership standpoint, and nobody else is going to contribute anything. Like you said, 16 of the 18 had Caitlin Clark in the spotlight. You've got to find a way to make that more. Right, so if Caitlin Clark's going to give you 16, everybody else has got to give you 10, and you've got to be able to build that with the good teams because that's where the interest is. Right, the Sun are good. The Sun are also in a spot in the nation that loves women's basketball. Think about what Connecticut does with UConn women's basketball. So you got to find a way to make them pop. If you got the Liberty in New York, the New York City is one of those basketball meccas. They love them some basketball there. You got to find a way to get more interest in them as well. And then with Asia Wilson and what the Aces have been able to do these past 2 seasons, not necessarily this 3rd season, but the past 2 seasons, you would think there's a way to generate interest in having a successful sports franchise in Vegas. So you've got to find that's, and then go to LA. You got to make LA work as well. Those are the 4 franchises outside of Caitlin Clark, who's in a league of her own, that the WNBA has got to find a way to make almost as marketable as Caitlin Clark. I don't think you can make anybody as marketable as Caitlin Clark, but you got to try and get close.
No, she's in a different stratosphere right now, and that is a fact. She is drawing in a similar way to people who didn't like to watch golf but like to watch Tiger Woods, so they go and watch golf. People who maybe don't like to watch the NBA but they enjoy watching a Steph Curry or a LeBron, so they will seek out those kind of games. Like just one of those stars that transcends the sport, and she's in her rookie season, and so that's notable, and there have been a ton of new fans to come into the league because of her, and that's excellent. But watching 19,000 people show up at that game last night is one of the reasons why every time somebody tries to tell me that nobody was watching the WNBA until Caitlin Clark, I have to push back regularly. I just got in this conversation again with somebody yesterday, and it truly drives me insane because it is just not true. And I guess two things can be true at once. The continued growth thanks to Caitlin Clark, but also the established promise of the WNBA and the established game and product and players that people do care about outside of the Indiana Fever. And granted, the Indiana Fever play tonight. Tonight they take on, no, I'm sorry, the Fever don't play tonight. They play, when do they next play?
Friday. No, Saturday.
Saturday. And they play the Lynx.
Because remember, all of their games were front-loaded and on national TV to capitalize on Caitlin Clark. Now they've got a bit more, they got significantly more time off between games than everybody else in the W.
But it will be a great game because they play the Lynx, who are one of the better teams in the WNBA.
I would
Your
say the
top
best
team
team
right now. Well, you said that... Who did you think the Liberty played on Friday?
It is.
Or the Ace. It's Aces Lynx.
Yes.
Which is a great game on Friday night.
That is a game on a Friday night.
Yes.
There's not much else happening in the sports sphere. As the WNBA, you've got to be able to pitch us that game. You've got to be able to sell us that game. You've got the old guard, the team looking to three-peat versus arguably the best team in the WNBA. You've got Aja Wilson versus Collier, right? You've got a battle for the MVP race right there. I think maybe a battle for a defensive player of the year also, but digress and regress. Like, you've got legitimate storylines featuring good teams and great players. You've got to sell us that. That has got to be one of those games that draws all of the eyeballs. Not saying like a Caitlin Clark, because you're right. That is the Tiger Woods of the moment right now, where everybody is tuning in to watch. But that game right there, if you're going to continue to grow as a league, that game has to do numbers.
That game last night needed to be on national TV.
Yeah.
It's a history game. Dejanay Carrington spoke passionately about it. You should not have to pay or seek out watching a historical moment in the sport of basketball where these teams are playing at TD Garden for the first time and all of the history there, and put in the fact that the Connecticut Sun are a really good team, a team so good that they consider themselves to have 6 starters, and they bumped DeWanna Bonner to the bench for the first time maybe in her career coming off the bench last night. They had Bonner come off the bench because they rolled with the starting lineup of Alyssa Thomas, Dejanay Carrington, Brianna Jones, Maureen Mabry, and Harris was their starting 5 last night, with DeWanna coming off the bench. But they're a really good team, and so if you put that on TV in a cool environment when there isn't a ton of things going on in the sports world, like, that's how you capitalize on marketing. And like you said, coming up this weekend, sure, get excited for Fever Lynx, but how about Sun Liberty before that?
It's 3 or 4 games this weekend where it is, if you're the W, you've got to go. I would think if it was me, I'd look at this slate of games this weekend and be like, yo, we are bombarding as many people as we can with how important and how much fun these games are, and how much fun and how you'll find that sports passion in your belly that gets the bubbling up when you watch some of these sports teams go out there and compete. Like, you'll get that feeling here on Friday. These are all on Ion. You brought it up, Aces Lynx on Ion, right? Then on Saturday you got Sun versus Liberty. Like, come on, man, you got to get us up for that. Then of course you got Fever and Lynx. Nobody's gonna have an issue getting up for that. But then on Sunday you go Aces Storm. Right, like, those are the top teams in the W minus Fever. Those are the top teams.
Sorry, no.
Storm, right? Like,
so look, we're gonna stop right there, and this is back to what I literally just did a segment on this. The WNBA, it's not just the WNBA. The WNBA can give you the best platform ever. I'm not saying they're going to, but what are you gonna do as a basketball team to bring excitement to your market? That's what it comes down to. I'm at the gym and I'm always talking about WNBA now. And people are, oh, no, I don't watch WNBA. They know who Caitlin Clark is, though. They definitely know who that is. They don't know. I could go say, hey, do you know who Kelsey Mitchell is? They're going to be like, Maybe they might know, but I'm gonna be like, hey, do you know who Enrique is? They're gonna be like, hell no. These players have to start bringing excitement to their own market. Whatever you need to do to bring attraction to yourself, shit, Carrington, go ahead and tweet all you want. Bring your fans. Do it. You're doing a great job. That's what you should be doing. Bring your fans. Yes, the WNBA, they need to do their part on getting these national games. And he's right. The Las Vegas Aces, the Los Angeles Sparks, these teams should have national coverage. But we have had a track record of you guys doing minimum numbers on television and viewership. And then you have a cash cow who explodes on numbers. And that's why she gets so many televised games. So yes, we could blame the WNBA, but at the same time, what have these girls done in the past 10 years to bring their fans out? How are you going to continue to bring your fans to your market? That's what it comes down to. So Jessica can say whatever she wants. My man can talk about, yes, the WNBA has to do a better job of, okay, so how are they going to promote it? You got to be marketable. Who's marketable on these teams? Maybe, I guess Kelsey Plum could be marketable. Asia Wilson could be marketable. But what are you guys going to do to bring something to the table? He's right. We cannot depend on Caitlin Clark. She can't grow every 12 team, every other team market. She can't. There's 11 other teams right now in the market. And you guys don't even come close to the numbers. We have 2 huge teams, he said, Friday. We didn't know about that. Maybe we might know as basketball fans, basketball analytics, people who do this. We might know, but we're this big compared to everybody else out there. So we might be excited to watch women's basketball, but the majority of the people, if you don't bring another name up besides Caitlin Clark, they're not watching any women's basketball. I can tell you that right now. So the big question is, how are we going to sustain this momentum without Caitlin Clark? That is what the league should be worried about. You take Caitlin Clark out of this league right now, this league ain't doing nothing but doing what it's been doing. Tanking. And that's a scary part of this whole situation. And this is the big problem that we're having. How are we going to sustain this? How are we going to continue to break records and get this thing to grow if Caitlin Clark's name is not involved? Or does that just prove to you that Caitlin Clark is that valuable? That's the big question. That is the big question right there. Is Caitlin Clark that valuable to the fact that, dog, this is Caitlin's league at this point right now? Like I just said, Caitlin is investing into this league while you guys are just showing up for work. That's what it really looks like. Like Caitlin Clark shouldn't even be on salary. No, I mean, no disrespect to anybody else in the league, but that's just when it comes down to a business standpoint. Caitlin Clark is an investor. You guys gotta work on something, do something exciting, create headlines, create storylines to push your games out for more viewership. Because I can go and say, oh, this and that, go watch the Aces game. It ain't gonna get 2.2 million views. Like if I go, hey, Caitlin Clark is playing, I wouldn't have to say anything. Caitlin Clark is playing, everybody's gonna know. And I guess that could come down to the WNBA, but Caitlin Clark's had this going on 2-3 years before the WNBA. So and she's been doing this in college. So clearly it's a Caitlin Clark thing. So what are you guys gonna do to bring it to your market? You can't depend on Caitlin Clark. And that's all I got to say, man. So shout out to Jessica. with the Jessica Benson Show. I appreciate you guys, man. It's your boy C.O. Kana. Welcome to Game Day. I definitely want to touch on this subject a lot more because it seems like everybody's getting a step away from basketball because we can see how this thing could trickle down very fast if Caitlin Clark is not involved. Like, yes, it's great. The momentum is great. But at the same time, that momentum could stop if Caitlin's not involved. So we got to do something about this and figure something out fast. I appreciate you guys, man. Welcome to the show. I'll catch you on the next one. We're out.